I would like to introduce Reverend Linda Lynch, who is also my aunt. She is a certified Reiki master since 1999. She also holds a master's in metaphysics and a master's of metaphysical healing from the Universal Life Church Seminary. She is also a certified master teacher in Karuna, which is a higher level of Reiki healing. She is a spiritual medium, a certified hypnotherapist, and she's also a practicing pagan. Linda, welcome.
Hi.
To my project. The first question I'd like to have you talk about is to describe what exactly is Reiki.
To me, Reiki is love. It's use of the universal, spiritual, God-conscious energy to help people, to help heal them, to heal their own bodies.
Okay. So, can you describe for us how Reiki works?
Reiki works through an attunement process. If a normal person lays hands on, they are using their own physical energy. With Reiki, you go through an attunement process which opens up your chakras, and I'll explain that in a second, which allows the universal life energy force to come in through your crown chakra, to come in through your body, out through your hands, to heal, help heal the person who's on your table, so that you're not using your energy. I can do Reiki all day long without getting tired because I'm not using my energy. And as the universal energy comes through me, I'm also getting a healing. I'm getting a boost. So it's beneficial for me as well as my client who lies on the table.
So you act as a conduit for the universal
Right.
energy, and we all have chakras in our body that let the energy flow through.
Right. Chakra is a Sanskrit word for spinning wheel. And we have a crown chakra, which is your top of your head, which connects straight up through to spirit, okay, to the universe, to whatever your belief it connects to. Then you have right between your brows, which is your third eye chakra, and that is your inner sight, okay? You also have your throat chakra, which helps you with the ability to speak your truth. You have your heart chakra, which goes connected to your heart. Your solar plexus, which is just above your belly button, which has anything to do with that section of your body. It's also your power center. And is mostly as women, we give a lot of power away, to our husbands, to our children, to our jobs, especially when we want to say no and we say yes. We're giving a lot of our power away. The next chakra is your sacral chakra, which is just below your belly button, which is your sexual chakra. And it's also your creative chakra. And then your last chakra is your root chakra, which is 2 inches below your spine. It connects directly to the earth. The weird things about chakra is starting from the top, it actually starts at the bottom. So your root chakra is actually considered your first chakra. Your your sacral chakra is your second. Solar plexus is your third. Heart is fourth. Throat is fifth. Third eye is sixth. And then you have your crown is seventh. You also have another chakra, which is out here, which is your soul star. And that gets into something else. When these chakras are blocked, we call them muddy, or aren't spinning in the right direction. This side of the equator, they spin clockwise. If you're below the equator, of course, they would spin differently. So if they're not spinning right, if you have issues, emotional issues connect to your physical being. So if you have something going on in your stomach, that's going to bother your solar plexus. So that means when I check your chakra, that solar plexus chakra can be off, which needs to be cleaned out and have all the stagnant energy or negative energies taken out. As long as they're all spinning and working properly, your body is in better health.
Very, very interesting. So we talked about chakras and using spiritual energy you use as a channel to correct the energy that is
out of balance.
Out of balance, exactly. And you mentioned spirituality. So would you consider Reiki a religion?
It does not have any religious connotations at all, but it will work in any religious format.
Okay. So different religions could use this same
Right.
sort of spiritual power to...
We've done Reiki healing circles in Jewish temples, in Unitarian churches, and the spiritualist churches do a laying on of hands during their service, every service, whether they're Reiki practitioners or not, but they do a laying on of hands practice during all their services.
Excellent. Very, very interesting. Well, thank you. I think that concludes our interview, and we will move on next to the Reiki healing session itself.
A Reiki session with me will last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on what kind of work needs to be done. The first thing that I like to do when I have a client on the table is make sure they're nice and comfortable. If they need a blanket, play background music, whatever, so they're comfortable. Then I like to connect with their energy by laying my hand on their solar plexus and as well as on mine to make my connection. Then I always ask for my guides, my higher self, my connection with the God energies and the angels to come in to help me with this healing. And I also ask my client to do the same, to call in their angels and to set an intention for their healing. What is it that they need to have worked on the most? Just because I feel or my client feels this is what they need, the Reiki energy kind of has a mind of its own and will go where it needs to go. Because we might think they have a headache when they actually have insomnia, and that's why they have a headache. So the Reiki will work on what it needs to work on. The other thing that I like to do is I like to check their energy. So it's what they call Boysen scanning, and it's by running my hands over her aura field, trying to feel any hot or cold spots, anything that could be going wrong in her body with the chakras. Now remember what I said is the first chakra is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. I also use a pendulum to check chakras. This will show you the spin of the chakras. So I'm asking for Lisa's root chakra to spin, and you can all watch. I'm not spinning this myself, and it's spinning at a nice pace in a clockwise direction. So that tells me that's fine. Now I'd like to see the spin of her sacral chakra. Spinning fine. The spin of Felicia's solar plexus. Okay, we can see it's not really spinning. So that tells me that's where her block of energy is. Now let's see her heart. Oh, she's got a nice big heart. It's going good. Now her throat chakra. Okay, her throat chakra it's moving, but not as well as it really should be, which means sometimes she has a trouble speaking up. Sometimes it's out of the fact you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And her third eye chakra is doing fine. And her connection with spirit, and that's doing fine. Okay. So the next thing that I would do would be to work on cleaning out her chakra to get the energy moving fine. But just because we don't want to make this a 3-hour video, I'll do that later on. So the next thing that I would do is I would start the healing process. So I'm going to work on her crown chakra. The usual amount of time is approximately 5 minutes per chakra. Sometimes you might find your hands don't want to move because that part of the body needs a little extra energy. Then you would go on to cover her third eye and her eyes. You can also say affirmations when you're doing this to yourself, that Lisa be able to see all that she needs to see. Or when you get to the throat, that she'll be able to speak her truth. So there are different affirmations. You can also help with the healing if you want to. In the meantime, the energy is coming through my crown chakra, down through my chakras, and it's going up my hands. I'm just a conduit. I am not the healer. I am only helping the energy to jumpstart, like a battery, for Lisa's body to heal itself. And then we go down to her ears and her jawline. This is just the basic positions. You would actually put your hands where you feel they needed to be to get their most results and most healing. And then you would go to the throat where your hands would rest just on the collarbone. Because you don't want to choke anybody. You don't want to put your hands too close to their throat, because in a past life you don't know what kind of, or even in this life, traumatic experience they might have had, like drowning or suffocation or anything of that nature. So you really don't want to make them feel uncomfortable in any way. And then I always like to put my hands on their shoulders, because that's where people carry a lot of their stress in their body. So it kind of, I'm sure you see a lot of people that have what we call turtleneck, where their shoulders are up and their head is in. And a lot of people do that when they're stressed. So hopefully by doing this, it will help to relax the stress away. Another part of the body that's very important to work on is called the high heart, which is right here, which is above the heart. Because sometimes things that we don't want to deal with or we want to push away from, we kind of push them up into here and hope that they go away, which of course they don't. So I always like to give a little healing energy to the high heart. Now after I've spent time working on those important chakras, I would work on her immune system. So I'd work on the thymus and I would work on the spleen. Those are important. You want to make sure your immune system is up and running. So if I put my hands here and it feels very cold to me, I would feel, okay, she's lacking the energy there, she's fighting off something. If it's very, very hot, I'd say, well, she probably already has a cold or an infection or something going on. If my hands feel neutral, then she's fine. Because we don't know how this would kind of go on. Sometimes with clean chakras out, people will feel a pulling or they'll feel a little strange feeling. And sometimes they don't feel anything at all. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. This is the immune system working on the thymus and the spleen. So as long as both my hands feel neutral, then I know she's got a good healthy immune system going on over here, good filtering system going on. And then the next thing you'd work on is the heart. So this is the safest, best way to do the work on the heart. You can also work 2 to 3 inches above the body. So if somebody, say a burn victim, you couldn't touch them, but you could work 2 to 3 inches above the body. All the time that I'm working on them, I'm also, like I said, connected to the spirit energy from the universe that comes through to help jumpstart their batteries to get them going. Now working on the solar plexus. If you take a moment to think, your solar plexus area consists of your stomach for one thing, as well as others. But what if you're having issues with your stomach? Now think about it emotionally. What is going on in your life that you're having problems digesting? Or what is eating you up? So what is going on in emotional and physical go hand in hand. And sometimes if you figure it out, you can eliminate it, and guess what? Your stomach disorder goes away. And the Reiki kind of helps you put your connection of your mind, your body, your spirit, your mental, and your emotional bodies together to be able to work together to heal your body. And of course, the arms are very important to work on. The arms are what helps to keep you actually keeps you steady and keeps you in balance. Now, anything there's two of, you always have to make sure you work on. So you have two hips. So you have to balance the hips. What I imagine is this energy running from hand to hand, going back and forth, balancing her hip energy out so that she'll walk even and her hips will be even. Your hips, your legs, your knees all carry you forward in life. So if any time you're having leg problems or hip or knee problems, foot problems, think about what is your fear about moving forward in life. All parts of your body all connect to something emotional going on in your life. And I would repeat the same process on this side over here. Remember, she got two arms, two legs. You have two of her, whatever there's two of has to be worked on. Always try to keep contact with the body, because if you've ever had a massage or anything, you know what it feels like when you feel nice warm hands and all of a sudden they're gone. It's kind of a shock, so it's nice to keep as often as possible contact with the person. When I have finished working on the person's front side, I will flip them over. But before I do that, I want to balance, I want to make sure all their chakras, all their spinning wheels are working well. So I want to connect with her spiritual energy that's coming in first to her root chakra, which is grounding her to the earth. So the root chakra energy is going straight down into Mother Earth, making connection, while the spiritual energy is going straight up to the universe. Again, when both my hands feel neutral, I know that chakra is balanced. I would go on to the sacral chakra and do the same thing. And to her solar plexus. All the time keeping my hand on her crown chakra, connecting to spirit. Her heart. Her throat. And her third eye. And then just briefly, we're going to check her solar plexus again. And as you can see now, it's spinning the way it's supposed to be spinning. So the Reiki energy helps to unblock the things that are keeping you stuck here. The other thing that we like to do is put on what we call a psychic band-aid. So it's just taking the energy and we're kind of smoothing it out because we ruffled it a little bit. And we're smoothing it out, and it's like putting a psychic band-aid on it to keep the energy inside the body, inside her aura, so that it can work and keep on healing. Just because my hands are off doesn't mean the healing has stopped. And now after a half hour to 3/4 of an hour of lying on the back, usually the client is pretty much comatose or asleep. A lot of people will go to sleep because it's hard for spirit to work on you when you're fighting them. So a lot of times they go to sleep, spirit can come in and help do the work that needs to be done while you're sleeping. So then you're nice and cozy and comfortable. You want to flip over. And quickly, the back, you can put your hands anywhere you want so that you're comfortable, is balancing her spine. So I have my hand up at the top of her spine and on her coccyx bone. And I'm imagining the energy running from hand to hand up and down her spine, clicking everything into place where it's supposed to be. This is also an energy boost when you run the energy up and down the spine. The other thing, of course, I would also do is work it on the back of the chakras. So again, I would work my way down their back. Now she has 2 lungs, so we definitely want to work on her lungs. Now I know Lisa's not a smoker, so I'm not too worried. But if she was a smoker, I would work a little extra longer on working on the lungs. And you work your way down. We have 2 kidneys, so we have to make sure you work on both kidneys. And we've already balanced her hips and the back of her legs. But the other thing we need to work on, of course, is the back of the head. Now, if she had issues, your client had issues on any particular spot, on their back, their stomach, or wherever they were having aches and pains, that is where you would use your extra time. A lot of times I will call in spirit to help me to help them to remove their pain, to let it go. It's always important to let it go because you can't fix it, you can't change it, you need to let it go and not worry about it. And I also like to balance out the lower back with the feet. And the most important thing to do when you're done with any kind of an energy healing is to ground their energy. So what I'm doing now is pulling down any extra energy that she has that she doesn't need to ground her. I don't want her to get up off the table and fall over. And I've seen that happen. So we don't want that to happen. All of this is guided by spirit. Where I put my hands on my client is all guided by spirit, because there are times when I'll be working in one spot and I hear, no, you have to go here. And I listen to my intuition, it's all intuitively guided. And the same thing, smooth out the energy from the back. It's always done in 3s, 3 being the spiritual number. And then I always give thanks to the universe, to spirit, to my angels, to my guides, all those that came to help me with this healing today. Thank you very much for your help and your guidance in the healing. And that kind of concludes a Reiki healing. The quick version.
My concluding remarks?
Well, my concluding remark is to make sure you drink plenty of water, because Reiki does help release toxins that are in your body, whether they're emotional toxins, physical toxins, or whatever other kind. So for the next couple of days, drink extra water. Then I always ask my client, how are you feeling? Do you feel steady? Is there anything you want to talk about? And sometimes they have a lot to babble on about. Sometimes they have nothing to say, but I feel good.
I think I would have to say, I feel good. It was a wonderful experience, and if you have an opportunity to do so, I would suggest, finding, a Reiki healing master. My aunt is in Massachusetts, so it may be a bit for you to drive. However, it is definitely a worthwhile experience. Thank you, Reverend Linda Lynch.
Thank you.